All right, so we are recording. So you guys can see here under week 7 module, I have included the actual link for the TED Talk because this is actually a speech. And I have here the transcript. So you guys have the actual text here. I'll click on it. I'm a little nervous and how it'll look in this window. But if you haven't read it yet, if you are just in the process of kind of skimming through it, kind of checking it out. I know a lot of times students want to see how long it is, right? You want to take a look at the paragraph breakdown. Look at any bolding words or italicized words, anything that can help you infer what this particular text is designed to teach you, anything that can help you draw any conclusions about the author's main idea. That's a great starting space. So if we're only at the process of skimming, previewing, start to ask those questions such as, based on the title, what can I expect to learn from this text? What is this author attempting to tell me? What point are they attempting to get across? So this is a rough view of it in this window, but you see the title, What Fear Can Teach Us. Remember how we can use the title to help point us to the author's main point or main idea. So we know that they're kind of laying out the lessons of fear, right? So when we read that, we want to look for what are those lessons. It gives a little bit of information here about the author. I think context is always important. So attempt to read through that. So it's broke down. I believe it's 11 paragraphs is what it came out to. But I definitely recommend more than one read through, perhaps a read through on your own, and then another read through with the TED Talk accompanying your text, just to kind of get a better idea of emphasis from the speaker. A lot of times humor comes across better through the speech. So pay attention to those nuances, but definitely take notes as you guys are reading. Again, identifying the author's main idea. You know that they will ask that question on the CRT. Look for what you identify as the author's main purpose. Remember, we talked about that not only in the midterm CRT, but also in the reading practice with Sandra Cisneros. So, you know, this is kind of the run through without training wheels. Everything that we've been working on and practicing, here is your opportunity to really, you know, demonstrate that learning. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Let's see. I think I had a question in chat. All right. So I am recording. Okay. So you guys see that here. So that is available for you. The good thing about getting it early, because I want you guys to know, normally this is not how it works in the face-to-face setting. The student would normally get the essay the weekend before. So I guess it's almost the weekend before the CRT. Students then, especially with the CRT essay, they aren't given that ahead of time. So you guys are given that information ahead of time. So try to take advantage of that opportunity to get a head start. Try to take advantage of the opportunity to plan and prepare, especially for that essay portion where you guys know from the midterm, we struggled with kind of doing it all on the spot. So try to, if you can, outline, draft your response to that essay. And hopefully that will allow you to write out a more thoughtful, you know, response. You've had that time to really think about it and execute. There is a difference with the final CRT essay. You guys are required to write 5 paragraphs, so the standard academic essay. So attempt to prepare for that, practice that, and we'll talk a little bit more about that today. So did you guys have any questions about the article, the TED Talk, anything we can quickly discuss that may help your peers out as well? Did you guys have any questions? For those of you who may have read it or skimmed it already, like, what do we think? Does it look like a relatively easy read? Do we anticipate?
I think it'll be easier because it's easier to connect to just because of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'll be able to come up with something to write.
Okay, and I'm glad that you're thinking along those terms of something I can connect to. Always seek out a way to connect with the text, because you guys know firsthand that those short answer questions will ask. It'll normally state in your own words. Have you been in a situation similar, to that of the author? How did it make you feel? So they will ask those questions specifically about connection. A very useful tool with that, again, not to beat a dead horse, those annotations, the notes you take. If anyone remembers their process for the midterm CRT, you guys will know that it's cumbersome to have to constantly go back and reread. So when you have those annotations and you have those notes available, it makes the process in itself a little bit, easier to manage. It helps to eliminate some anxiety in that you're prepared, you have your notes. So try not to discount, the importance of that step. Also, keep in mind that just like with the midterm CRT, you guys will be asked to write a summary. So with that being said, I'm stop sharing for just a second. We'll come back to this. I'm in the process of scoring your Sandra Cisneros' only daughter assignment. I finished scoring your revised essay number 2. Well, not number 2, your revised essay 1, second attempt. And you guys have done an awesome job. I'm able to see in grades first, those of you who sat down with the tutor. In most cases, I'll say biggest gain in points came from those students who actually sat down, made that appointment with the tutor, had an opportunity to get an extra set of eyes on their papers. If that helped, if that was something that you feel helped you to improve, think of ways to tie that into your response. In what ways have you grown and developed as a writer? If that process helped, that's a way you can identify that you've grown and improved. But what I really want you guys to draw from to help you answer that question, look at the rubric. I've included the revised rubric. I emailed it to students this morning. And I also gave specific targeted feedback in grade book. So underneath your revised grade, I included feedback just to give you guys an idea of here's the areas that you really, were strong in. Here's areas I want you to kind of consider further study or review. So use that information as well in helping you to discuss the ways that you've grown and developed. Some of you revised up from, let's say, a 60% or a 65%. Some of you revised up to an 80%. So that is clear evidence of growth and development. So use that feedback, use the rubric. I specifically included the rubric so that you guys can compare your first draft rubric to your revised essay rubric. And anywhere where you moved from a no or somewhat to a yes, anywhere where those points increased, you can specifically point to, I improved in my sentence skills. I can see here that, my grade improved due to adding more relevant supporting details. So in preparing for the final CRT essay, you have all of this evidence or all of this information available to you to pull from and draw from. And we'll talk more about that. Let me put a pin in that so we can come back to this whole idea of using your rubrics to help you develop this final CRT essay. So we'll come back to that. All right, so have you guys, as of yet, had a chance to at least take a look at the revised essay rubric? Yes, no?
Yes.
I hear Yamna say yes. Jennifer, yes. Robert, I think I got a response from you, so I at least know you received it. Okay, Tamisi, I hear says yes.
I received it.
Okay, good. Take a look again at the feedback, and we'll talk about how you can use that feedback to help you with this final CRT essay. Okay. Most of what I wanted to discuss today really deals with the preparation for the CRT. But before I go into that, I wanted to, again, remind everyone, I see we have a lot more students who have kind of come in. Remind everyone about the journal entries, journal entry 5. If you haven't submitted that, make sure you submit it. Journal entry 6, which is what we completed in class on Monday, which is a free write about, in response to the final CRT essay. Again, I want to take a look at that, but do so this week. Next week, I'm just letting you guys know a heads up. My focus is scoring CRT. So I'm not going to be doubling back and scoring any homework assignments or journal assignments that I have not yet had an opportunity, that students haven't submitted as of yet. So try not to hit me over the head with all lingering or missing assignments next week. This is the week to get those in for me to add them to the grade book. The only thing that I am grading next week is CRTs. You guys are aware that technically Monday, July 20th is the last day of class. Well, I won't even say the last day of class because we're not physically meeting. That's where you guys are completing your CRT, final CRT assessment. But I do plan on reaching out with a schedule for conferences next Wednesday. And the conference would just simply be you guys getting the results of the final CRT, and also final placement. So final determination. And that's important for students to know prior to registering for the fall or any other classes. So look for that information on Brightspace. I plan to set up this schedule, if not today, then this weekend. So I'll post it on Monday along with any information about the CRT. But technically, this is our last week meeting face-to-face in a class setting. Okay, next time we'll see each other, it will be one-on-one where we are discussing the results of Monday's final CRT assessment. Okay, so are we all clear and collective understanding on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, and of course I'll reiterate it on Brightspace.
Nicole.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to say something. Can you explain me about how you need like a short answer question like length? I don't understand. You need one paragraph. You need two paragraphs. I don't understand this thing.
And you're talking about one paragraph or two paragraph on what? I'm sorry. Say it again, young.
Short questions.
Short answer. Okay, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
Please clear this. I'm very confused.
Okay, for the only daughter assignment, because that's where you guys have really turned in, or where I can really see you practicing those short answer questions. Okay. From what I've seen, and I haven't completed the scoring process on that yet, students tend to do better with the short answer response when they answer in, I'll say, at least a paragraph. And I talked about this with individual students when we had our midterm conferences. If you didn't get your points for the short answer, you should know why you didn't get your points for the short answer. So you guys at this point should know at least a paragraph response to short answer. But sometimes even if you give a paragraph response, you really want to make sure that in that response, you are directly answering the question.
Oh, Ms. Cole.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, but
okay.
The practice you gave us with the only daughter,
and you know how you gave us the summary questions in the essay.
Right.
That really helped me, like, you know, understand it more and like get better with my short answers. Because that when we first took the CRT, I was kind of, you know, still confused in my short answers. So yeah, the practice, you know, got me better.
Yeah, and I can tell just by what I've seen so far that the answers were definitely longer. You guys were answering incomplete sentences. You guys were targeting the question specifically. So to maximize on your points, because you guys can see those short answer points, they really count in overall towards your average. You guys remember from the midterm, those were the 12 and 10 point questions. So to get your maximum points, first of all, directly answer that question, do so in a complete sentence, but also do so by a thorough explanation of why you feel the way you do, a thorough explanation of the question. So Yamna, if that didn't answer, let me say, a paragraph, and a paragraph is anywhere from 6 to 8 sentences is what I'll say. But more than just a sentence count, you really want to be thorough. You really want to make sure you are answering the question and developing why you feel the way you do, you know, why you, you know, arrived at the conclusion that you arrived at. So you don't want to just give me single sentence answers. You don't want to what I call breeze through the answer. So I saw a lot of in the midterm vague answers where I still didn't clearly understand how, let's say, I'll just use the example, how has the readings from the semester helped you to understand other cultures better? You guys remember that question? I may have had people who said, well, it helped me to understand, you know, different cultures and backgrounds. Well, that's not clear or direct in answering that question. You really want to pinpoint on the how. If it's asking you to explain, you want to make sure you're giving thorough explanation. So paragraph minimum, direct, thorough is how you want to approach your short answer questions. Okay. So with that being said, let's go to, before we look at anything else, the sentence types, before we talk about commonly misused words, let's look at this presentation I included in week 7 module that is called the English 96 ARC seminar. So this is the presentation, PowerPoint presentation that I would present in WordShop to help other ARC students prepare for the final CRT. There have been some adjustments made in that now I understand that we are taking this electronically. So there may be some adjustments we have to make in terms of how we understand the information, but I can help you guys out with that. So let me pull up this PowerPoint. Let me share it with you guys, and we'll get through it relatively quickly. And hopefully on the other end of this, oh, hold on, let me let it pull up. Hopefully on the other end of this, it helps to generate any other questions you guys may have about the CRT process. I think I've already let you guys know that it will be slightly longer than the midterm CRT. The midterm CRT was about 10 questions, I believe, and that included the essay question. The final midterm may be about anywhere from 12 to 15 questions. So it does go a little bit more into detail. There may be some questions about vocabulary. So if you guys are coming across unfamiliar words in the text, try not to treat it as a speed bump. Really attempt to circle it, you know, define it, jot somewhere the definition, because you may have a definition question. They may ask you specifically about the text. All right, let me share. All right, so you guys can see this. Let me make it the slideshow. All right. So a lot of this information will seem repetitive, but anytime you hear something more than once, that really just emphasizes its importance. So again, if you hear me say it over and over again, it really is something important that I want you to focus on, okay? So again, the goal of this is to help prepare you for the final CRT. I'm kind of skimming through this only because it's no longer a two-part exam since we are not face-to-face. But I do want you to go to this last bullet point here at the bottom where it says final determination of the CRT and the portfolio assessment will reflect whether the student has passed a class or whether they will need to be retained. So at 30% of your grade, the CRT is a determining factor in whether or not you know, the student will be promoted on to the English 101 course, whether that is the standalone 101 or the 101 097 course, and that is the college level course with support. Okay, we'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of the presentation. All right, so take time with the introduction of the CRT article. Now that you guys have that, really hone in on those reading strategies that we've talked about all semester. We talked about previewing the whole process of annotation and summarizing the author's main idea, those after reading strategies, and ways that you can connect to the text. So keep all of those reading strategies in mind as you are working through an understanding of the text. We will discuss them a tad bit further. So we already have talked about previewing. If you guys came in a little bit late, we opened up the class with a discussion of, you know, what do you guys think about the CRT, the final CRT article? Even if you haven't had a chance to read it yet, you definitely want to preview, you know, what I call test the waters before we just jump right into it. So try to look around the text, preview the information, take a look at the title, and based on that title, begin to draw conclusions like what will this article or speech, this is actually a speech, what will this speech be about? What is it designed to teach me? Also look at the author information. I included a small blurb in the text. So who wrote it, what little bit of information you can gather about them. All of it is important in helping you to make inferences about what the author is attempting to tell, teach, or prove to you. Okay, so when you look at the verbs such as tell, teach, or prove, that all speaks to the author's purpose. If they are attempting to prove something to you, more than likely, you know, they're making an argument, right? They are attempting to persuade or convince. If you feel that they are attempting to inform or teach you, it's more of an informational text. Perhaps even it could be a narrative, you know, based on whether or not that story or experience is designed to teach you something. So really look at purpose. We know that that is a question that shows up on the CRT. It says, look for any specific print or text. I can tell you guys that in the copy that we have on Brightspace, there isn't a lot of variation with the text. I don't think you guys will find a lot of bolded or italicized words, but really pay attention to the breakdown of the paragraphs. So we know just in writing essays how the introduction works. We know how the conclusion works. So if you are struggling to find the author's main idea, look in those areas or those spaces. So go to the conclusion. We know normally the author will reiterate or summarize their main point there. So even though the text isn't, you know, necessarily showing any difference or emphasizing any meaning, use the structure of the article to help you guys work through your understanding. We know main idea, whether it is implied or explicit. So sometimes that main idea, you can find it in the actual article. You can point to a individual sentence and say, that's the author's main point. You know, it's explicit. Sometimes it's implied. So sometimes it's implied in the title, and the article or speech works to just walk through an explanation. So you may have to work harder to find that main idea, but whatever you do, use these reading skills or strategies in helping you to, you know, seek out that main point. So read first paragraph and last paragraph to draw conclusions, okay? So preview, and don't forget that is a really important step in our reading process. Even though I don't necessarily score your annotations, they are a very useful tool for you as reader, but also as student, you know, as taking the CRT exam. So you want to interact with the text, engage with the text, and the best way to do that is to take notes, to specifically pinpoint in the text areas that you identify as meaningful, that you identify as the author's main points and supporting details. So it says, annotation is your opportunity to join the conversation and document your understanding of the text. So did any of you find it useful, your annotations useful in completing the midterm CRT?
Yes.
Right, I hear one. I know I took a look
Yes.
at, yeah, I heard Yamna. I know with Shania, I looked at her annotations as well. Even if I didn't get a chance to look at them, you
I
guys want to
sent
make
you.
sure, I'm sorry?
I sent you an annotation paper.
Yeah, I know. I said I took a look. So you guys want to make sure that you are including or using your notes to really flesh out your understanding of the text. Identify vocabulary words that you are unfamiliar with or that impede on your ability to understand the text. And stop. The minute you come across a word that you don't understand completely, slow yourself down, stop, and attempt to define them. When you do this, not only do you kind of, you know, build that college level vocabulary, but it also opens up your understanding of the text. And this is all about comprehension, all about how you understand the text. So don't take for granted that when you see an unfamiliar vocabulary word that you can somehow work it out in context clues. Sometimes yes, but sometimes the author is addressing an audience that they feel will already have this knowledge. So they may not break it down for you. So it will be up to you to, you know, define that language and seek out your own understanding. This is what annotation is really about. It says practice annotating according to the guidelines. Now, in this course, we hadn't really laid out any major guidelines with annotation, but I do want you to focus on identifying author's main idea. You want to focus on identifying supporting details or supporting information or evidence that helps to develop that main idea. And you also want to take a look too at the conclusions, what I call the summaries, the opportunity to summarize author's main points. So think of essay structure as well in helping you guide you through the annotation process, okay? I cannot speak enough on how useful those notes are in helping you work through the questions, because if in your annotations you've identified the main point, when you see that question on the CRT, you can go straight to your note. Where you guys know for the CRT, you are asked to summarize. Your annotations really help with writing those summaries where the goal is to only pinpoint on key ideas or the author's main idea. So definitely engage, interact with the text by taking notes, okay? So we talked about this. Okay, after you guys read, so after we previewed, after you have taken notes and completed annotations, You then want to test yourself or practice summarizing this text, okay? If I had to explain this text to someone who has never read it, how could I briefly explain to them the key points or the author's main idea of this text? We know that a summary is brief. We know that a summary works to take the author's words or take the information and put them in your own words, right? This whole process of paraphrasing. So practice that. Here's what I read. Now take it through a translation process. And I can tell from your essay, your summaries of The Only Daughter, I have read that, much stronger summaries. And again, I'll give you guys individual feedback to help. But I can tell you guys have been studying the summary guidelines. I can tell that you, through each opportunity to summarize, you guys are getting better at it. Don't deviate from what you know already. It always needs to introduce the author name, title of text. It needs to, in that opening sentence, summarize the author's main idea. It should only focus on key points. You don't want to kind of go into what I call insignificant details from the text. You don't want to kind of get lost in the examples or the evidence. You only want to focus on what key points that evidence is supporting. You want to avoid interjecting your opinion. So you want to remain objective. You are not in the summary. It is only you pointing to a text and discussing what is in that text. So review everything that you guys know about summary. That helps you to work through comprehension. So what was the author's goal in giving me this information? Again, what is this text designed to teach me? Why does it all matter? All of these are the after reading strategies that really help you to extract meaning, okay? So we'll talk a little bit more about summary. Early on in the class, Jamisha brought up connections. We had talked about the CRT article, What Fear Can Teach Us, right? So I already told you guys, start to look at connections, right? What is something that you yourself was, afraid of, or something that you fear? How has your own life experiences, what has it taught you about fear? Has there been a situation that you found yourself in that you were fearful about, but through kind of pushing through, by facing that fear, what did you learn on the other end? So think about how you connect with the text. Comprehension is rooted in how you connect with the author's message. So again, how do you relate to the subject matter? What does it make you think about? What does it remind you of? In understanding the author's main idea, ask yourself, do I agree or disagree with this point? Why do I feel the way that I do? Here's what you guys can see anytime we discuss a reading. I automatically always point it back to, my own experience. And in doing so, it just makes that information a bit more manageable for me. It makes it more clear. So practice not only summarizing, but also connecting with the text. It's the connection that will move us from objective to subjective. So where we're just talking about author's point, author's main idea, the connection is what opens you up to write about the text. Because normally you have been asked questions such as, well, how were you motivated or inspired by that text, right? You may be asked, do you agree or disagree with the author's main idea and why? You guys saw for the midterm CRT where we looked at, based on the other readings that you guys have read in class, right? How has it helped you to understand? So the question will come back to you, especially when we look at those short answer questions. It'll always ask, what do you think? How did you feel? How would you approach this? So maybe in your annotations, jot notes down about your connection, whether you agree, disagree, in putting yourself in the author's shoes, what would you do? How would you feel? All of that, again, speaks to a college level understanding of a text. And you guys will see that when you go on to the 101 class, a lot of the writing really deals with how you connect it to the text. So it does take that basic understanding of just what is the author's main idea, and it moves us to now, how do you connect with it? Do you agree or disagree? So that is a large part of the writing that takes place in the 101 or college level English course. All right, scanning through this just a tad bit, but so we've talked about what to do in preparation for the multiple choice short answer portion, but we know that another part of the final CRT assessment deals with that essay portion. So you guys have already had an opportunity to take a look at the prompt, the essay prompt for the final CRT. You guys will be writing on, in what ways have you grown and developed as a reader, writer, and critical thinker. So it sounds like a mouthful, but in class on Monday, we started the process of responding to this question. So you guys had an opportunity to free write on that question. So that took us through the step of, that took us through the steps of generating ideas, right? But we're not done yet. You guys will now have to take a look at your free write or at your brainstorming process and now begin to identify your main idea, right? What will be my thesis statement that will help me to outline my 5-paragraph essay? So we looked at a sample on Monday, but I'll revisit that on the other end of this presentation. But just know, once you guys take a look at your brainstorm, your generated ideas, now you can begin to formulate a thesis and start the planning process, right? Here's my thesis. Here is what my first body paragraph, second and third will discuss. And this step alone, the second step alone, helps you to outline your essay. And if you struggled at all in the midterm CRT, this step of outlining or organizing your essay can help cut down on a lot of time, a lot of frustration with completing that essay portion. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. You guys also can start drafting. I don't mind if you come with a draft. You know, if you already have a draft that you are working from when you complete this final CRT essay, whatever helps you, whatever works best for you. Again, I am considering all of the feedback I got from students when you told me that you struggled in some areas to, you know, develop your ideas. I want us to have time to work through that process. So try to, again, prioritize what you'll focus on in preparing for the final CRT. All of the reading strategies we discussed, you want to focus on that, but you also want to prepare for that essay portion. So take a look at your notes, start to formulate your thesis, and you use it to help you outline your essay, okay? So just to conclude, this was fast. Review and practice the strategies we discussed for reading. Visit, this was more so for the essay portions, but visit with your instructor to get feedback. So you guys know, even though we don't meet beyond today, our last Zoom meeting, I'd still have office hours tomorrow. So if you still need to discuss your approach to that final CRT essay, maybe you need to discuss other concerns in preparation. Really seek me out, email me. We can make time to go to a quick Zoom room and discuss face-to-face concerns or areas that you may really need to pinpoint in order to do well on the CRT, okay? So just a brief rundown on what I think would help you guys best in preparation for the CRT. But from that discussion, did you guys have any questions, anything on the other end that if I haven't addressed, I can, there's still time for me to address it in our discussion. Did you guys have any questions? I think at the start of the semester, I kind of told you guys that this will feel like a marathon, not a sprint. So I know we may be a tad bit fatigued just from all of the practice and preparation. So if you guys think of something later, don't hesitate to reach out. But I also want to know too, how are we feeling? Are we feeling anxious? Are we feeling ready? Are we feeling unsure? What are
I'm kind of ready to get it over with. I wanted to hurry up and come so I could be done.
I know that's right, Jamisha.
Yeah, I'm just ready to get it over with as well.
Too.
Okay, I hear you, Yamna. Look, I remember Tara, not to put you on the spot, Tara, but we were talking, and I think everybody kind of feels that way, but for the most part, with the midterm CRT, in the discussions that I've had with students, you guys did really well. Just overall as a class, you did well in terms of normally the midterm CRTs, I would see averages much lower than what you guys produce. So if it helps at all, I think that you guys are strong. You're stronger than you may think. So try to rely a little bit on your confidence in that you've done this once, you can absolutely do it again. Yeah, I understand that, Tara. So yeah, try to rely on that confidence that you've done this once. For the most part, we've done well. If we did not do well, we now know what we needed to focus on or work on in order to improve. So hopefully that knowledge is what will get you guys to the other side of this. What I did want to go into a little bit further from the presentation was what the results of this CRT will mean. So as you guys were completing that self-assessment survey, right? Those of you who completed it, you may know. But as you guys were completing that survey, I know that some students were stuck on that last portion where it asked you, based on your skills, where do you think you would land at the end of this class? Do you think you would go into the standalone English 101? Do you think that you would place in the English 101 097 course, right? Do you guys remember that section? I know you asked me specifically about it, Yamna, but do you guys remember that last portion of the self-assessment where it was asked?
But I did.
Yeah, you did it.
Yes,
but,
Yeah.
I remember.
Right? But you guys know that portion where it was asking where should you place. Now let's talk about that really quickly. Final determination will be based on the average, your average on the CRT plus your average in the course. So let's say a student who may score a A, who may receive an A in the class. That student who, let's say, has 90% and higher, perhaps maybe 90% or higher on the CRT. That student will primarily be placed in the standalone English 101. That means that student has mastered these particular outcomes or objectives for the class. So in doing so, that student shows college level readiness, right? Now, let's say that you receive, let's say, a B, C in the course, and on the final CRT, you scored, let's say, anywhere from 80, 75 or lower. Okay. Now, depending on where you placed with your essays, that student may need additional support. So whether it could be grammar support, whether that additional support is with sentence skills, maybe that additional support is even though they've completed a paper, I can still tell that they're struggling with thesis statement development. I can still tell that they are struggling with essay structure development. If I feel that the, deficiency could hinder you in a standalone 101 class, I would place you in the English 101 097 course, where in that course, the student is college level and they can take all college level courses, but they still have that extra course that gives them extra study in grammar, sentence skills, essay development, thesis development, that type of extra study. So one or two ways actually 3 ways you guys can come out of the course. You can come out placing into the 101, English 101, and that is normally characterized with a P, and P stands for pass. Or you could be placed in the English 101 097 course, which is college level, but with a support course that is going to give you all of the support you need to be successful in that college level course. So that is generally characterized with a P minus. So it's passing, but with support. Okay. And of course, another way you could place anything, of course, that falls under that 70% will be considered failing. So if the student is at under 70% in the CRT, if most of their papers fail under 70%, then that student would definitely need to be retained, in that there was some objectives that weren't met in the course. There was some learning that I think the student could benefit from before moving on to the next level. So final CRT results will determine that final placement. So whether or not you'll go on to 101, 101 097, or whether or not you'll be retained. Because for some students, 7 to 8 weeks, it just simply may not be enough. Perhaps there are some students who could benefit from the 16-week ARC course. So when we have those final conference, so when you guys get the results, I'll send out, to discuss the results, I'll send out a meeting schedule, and Wednesday will be reserved for those individual conferences where students not only get the results of the CRT, but they also will know where they place. Okay. Yamna, I think you were going to say something.
Yeah, I can't hear you. Can you repeat about results and numbers? This thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Say it one more time, Yamna.
Can you repeat results, number? What are you saying? Because I'm not hearing you.
Okay. You want me to repeat everything that I just said, or you just want to?
No, only you say under 70 grades. That thing.
Okay. That your results from the final CRT will determine where you are placed. So final grade placement. So
okay.
You can pass the class, but it's still, the CRT will determine what class you pass into, whether or not you will go into that 101 standalone. So that means no support. You go into that class ready to tackle and take on the work as it is, or whether or not you'll go into the 101 course with support. And that's the 101 097 course, where you are in the English 101 course, but then you have a support course as well. So it helps you through research, it helps you through essay structure, grammar, sentence skills, etc. So those are, if you pass the course, those are the 2 areas where you guys can be placed. Did that make sense? Did that answer your question?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So with that, we'll have an additional opportunity to discuss that when we meet next Wednesday. So look for updates on that. Look for your Brightspace announcement to give you information on that. Okay. All right. Hold on. There's one more thing I wanted to talk to you guys before I move on. Hold on. I want to pull up. We talked about this. I want to pull up the final CRT essay samples. So I want to just show you guys some samples so that you can look at when you respond to the question, in what ways have you grown and developed as a writer throughout the semester, what that looks like in essay format. Let me just give you guys some idea of what you're doing with that assignment. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. All right, so let me pull this up. And I think originally I said I'll post this to Brightspace. Make sure I don't forget to do that. All right, so let's take a look at this. Share my screen. So a really big part of the final CRT, as you guys know, I think it was worth 60 points with the midterm CRT. So a huge chunk of the points that you guys get on your final CRT will come from that essay. So you really want to make sure you execute appropriately, but not only does it help with that CRT score, it also operates as a final paper score as well. So this is an opportunity for you guys to maximize points. That's what I'll call it. The reflective or final CRT essay is somewhat, I don't want to say an easy A. I don't want to say it's an easy A, but it's somewhat of an easier paper in that you guys aren't talking about your response to a text. You're talking about your response to the class. How have you grown and developed as a student in the class? So I think it offers an opportunity for you guys to really maximize the points you can earn, because you're talking about you, and no one knows your journey or what you have, how you have improved in the course better than you. So it gives you an opportunity to talk not only about yourself and how you've grown and improved, but also to kind of lay out the evidence, details to support that. So let me take it back to the question, the final CRT essay question. In what ways have you grown and developed as a reader, writer, and critical thinker? Think on that all the time, because your response is what's going to, what you will be developing into a 5-paragraph essay. Now, some of you have experience with the 5-paragraph essay because for essay number 1, you turned in 5 paragraphs. Some of you only submitted 4. That's okay, but you will need to be prepared. You will have to have the information and details for you to pull off the 5-paragraph essay. So let's take a look here. How many paragraphs is this? Yeah, so this is 5. At the student sample, this is a student sample. Look, I haven't had my coffee, so I'm looking at it and thinking, do I really want to read this whole essay? Let me give you guys, give you an opportunity to read it. Yeah, let me copy and paste this PDF. I'm going to drop, well, how many? Hold on. Yeah. Let me drop this PDF in chat. You guys will pull it up. You'll have an opportunity to kind of peruse it, read it, take a look at it, and we'll come back on the other end and discuss it. So give me just one moment. I think that'll be more useful than me reading it for you. I don't think that'll be. Okay, so hold on just 1 second. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Let me pause my share. Give me 1 second. I'm going to drop this link in your chat box. All right, bear with me, guys. I don't know if that'll be used. All right, give me 2 seconds. I'm pulling it up. Look, I did a search under reflective and I have a million here. Hold on really quickly. All right. All right, so let's see if you guys can use this link. Dropping it in chat. It's looking a little sketchy. Oh, that's in Jewel. Oh, sorry, Jewel. Let me send this to everybody. All right, instead of the link, I'm adding the attachment. This is a really long link, and I think it's going to be a disaster. Give me 1 second. All right, it's the only thing they're giving me. All right, we'll leave it at this. Let me stop trying to do special things. It's difficult. Okay, I'll quickly read. Keep in mind that this is in response to the question, in what ways have you grown and developed as a reader, writer, and critical thinker, okay? Keep in mind these are student samples, so don't necessarily judge too harsh, okay? It says everyone has different types of flaws, but mine are mostly in reading and writing. The way I read something has always caused me trouble understanding the author's purpose. Are you guys looking at the text on the screen? Are we all looking at the same thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Has always caused me trouble understanding the author's purpose in writing.
Yeah.
All right, whenever I walked into my English class, I was often shy because I knew how bad my reading and writing skills were, but now I have a bit more confidence in myself. My experience through this semester has highly developed my reading comprehension skills, and it has also helped me develop in accepting my classmates' criticisms towards my essays. Okay, so we see an introduction paragraph here. You guys see how the student is attempting to walk you through their journey. So the question asks, in what ways have you grown and developed as a reader, writer, and critical thinker throughout the semester? So they start with their goals or their apprehensions when they first entered the class. So we kind of see them walk us through that. The thesis that I'm pinpointing here is that the student now feels that they are able to develop their reading comprehension, and that it has helped them to accept criticism towards their essays. So they may tie that into critical thinking. Okay, so we'll look at that. It says, in my 4 years of high school, annotating meant to highlight what I thought was important in the writing, but that never truly helped me understand what the writing was about. When I read articles in class or for homework, I always read it thoroughly once and start answering questions which I often got incorrect. At first, I hated always getting annotating homework because it just seemed too much to do on an article, but I got used to annotating in that style. After a while, I didn't mind this because I realized that I struggled in my midterm multiple question section after I spoke one-on-one with my teacher. So the way this helped my reading comprehension was that I had to highlight the main ideas for each paragraph. This made me reread paragraphs multiple times in order to understand the main ideas. Now I force myself to read articles more than once and find the main ideas, which is what helps me understand the article more. Whenever I have a hard time remembering or understanding what I read, I always look back at the main ideas I highlighted to refresh my memory. Okay, so we see body paragraph number 1. And if you guys are noting anything, I want you to note the detail that this student included in laying out how they have improved in their reading through the use of annotation. So she's speaking about reading comprehension, and that was pointed out in the thesis. And here in the body paragraph is the author's opportunity to really go into detail, lay out evidence as to how they have grown and developed in as a reader. So they talked about annotation helped, rereading those annotation notes, seeking out main ideas. So we see that clearly in this first body paragraph. Let's look at this next one. It says, another thing that this fall semester has helped me develop myself more is in allowing my classmates to proofread my essay without being worried that they're going to judge my bad writing skills. At the beginning of this semester, I was embarrassed to share my first essay with the class because I felt that they were going to judge. I actually got over that because our teacher told us it was helpful to have classmates check our essay and to be open to their perspective on what our essays need improvement in. At first with the essay my classmate revised, I wasn't so sure if to fix my paper with that proofreading. I felt like my essay was good enough until I saw that the teacher made similar proofreading marks that my classmate made on my essay. I learned that everyone has something to improve on their writing, some more than others, but as long as we keep trying and allowing another person to give us their opinion on our writing, then that's how we become better writers, okay? So you can see here that this author is focusing on writing. So you see how first body paragraph talked about reading, and they went into detail on how they improved as a reader. Here they're focusing on how they have improved and developed as a writer. And they're laying out specifically what helped them to improve was the peer reviews. Now you guys don't have experience with peer reviews. It worked better in face-to-face, but you can talk about the revision process. You can talk about sitting down with a tutor or with your instructor, or you can talk about anything, whatever specifically to, for each person, whatever helped you to improve in this area. This particular essay requires that you go into detail about how you have grown and developed in that particular area. So we see here the student gave a very thorough explanation that the peer reviews, what fears she had about it at first, how once she got over that, how the feedback from the students helped her to improve, and then she kind of left the this particular paragraph with her closing thoughts, what she learned. So I learned that everybody has something that they can work on. I've learned to keep trying. So all of this is good information in terms of really speaking to how that student has grown and developed. Through the explanation, I'm able to see the maturity or growth in that area. All right, let's look at this third body paragraph. Or is this my conclusion? Okay, so this is a conclusion. It says, so yes, through this fall semester, I developed as a writer and as a reader in parts I needed help before. I feel that I still need to improve more, but so far I have grown more than I imagined myself growing into. I enjoyed seeing how this class has helped me develop, even though I struggle at the beginning with my reading comprehension and accepting my mistakes. I believe that this semester I have enormously grown throughout my months here. So and you know, this is just one sample. We'll take a look at another, but you guys can see in the development of this essay that the student incorporates everything that she learns. We have a clear introduction that sets up, it prepares the reader for what it is that they're about to read. She gives a thesis statement that is identifiable. You know, my experience through this semester has highly developed my reading comprehension skills, and it helped me to develop accepting my classmates' criticism. You guys see how that thesis mapped out body paragraph 1, and you see how that thesis mapped out body paragraph number 2. So there is no deviation here. They didn't deviate from their main idea. They stayed consistent. All of the details, you guys see how these are not what I call my skinty paragraphs. This shows a level of college level thinking. Even if the student may need to work through, you know, some grammar or sentence skills, the thinking is definitely there. So although the student didn't address critical thinking here, so that, you know, is missing, I can see the critical thinking that's taken place in their response. The fact that how the student thinks about annotation from when they first enter the class, where they used to hate it, to how they ended the class, you know, it shows the elements of thinking. It also shows evidence. They're laying out specific examples as to how they've grown and developed. The same with that writing portion. They go very deep into detail. It's not what I call my, you know, super skinny paragraph. So that's a clear indicator. Details are there. They are relevant. They connect back to that main thesis. So you guys see that. Here's what I want to point out as well. In the conclusion, the student is very genuine and honest in saying, you know, there's other things I need to work on. Like, I won't say that I don't still struggle. So they're very honest in pointing that out, but they do say that I feel I have improved in my time in this class, and they reiterate that thesis statement to show that. So that's one sample, okay? We'll take a look at another. So what did you guys think about that sample? What did we think about that? Did it give us a better idea of what we're doing with this assignment?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good. So we'll look at another. Let me see. I just want to look about it, about how long. Look, how long do I need to read? Should I take a drink of water? No. All right, so let's look at this. So you guys see how this is listed as a reflective essay. Don't worry so much about that title. It is still a reflective essay, but it is for your final CRT essay, okay? So look at this particular type of essay as a narrative, in that you are telling the story. You're telling the story of how you've grown and improved as a reader, writer, and critical thinker throughout the course, okay? It says that there was a time in my life where writing essays was not one of my strong points. I always knew how to structure an essay, but just didn't know how to get my thoughts down on paper. It wasn't until my junior year in high school when I thought I started to become a better writer. I had an English teacher named Miss Smith. She was amazing. She taught me more about writing, as far as how to write a thesis statement and to always use examples to back up my point of view. I also learned how to use the correct punctuation and proper English. As my junior year of high school came to a close, I was awarded the most improved student in English. Entering my senior year, I was given the opportunity to attend an AP English class because I was told that I was prospering in my English writing. I also did great in that class. It wasn't until I had to write my first paper about 3 months, I guess they're saying about 3 months ago, and getting back the graded essay and noticed that I had so many mistakes, is when I realized I needed more practice in writing. Look, I may stop on this one just a second. Let me see, is this going to, okay. So they're going into it. But what you guys can see in this first paragraph, it's just an intro. They're attempting to introduce you to what skills they had already. And in doing so, walk you into their thesis of how they have grown and improved in this class. Now, what I don't like about this sample, just before we get started, is that there is no clear thesis included in the introduction. And if you guys know what we've been learning in this class, and even what you guys have been seeing in my feedback, when you don't introduce your thesis in your introduction, it sometimes create other formatting problems. So we'll read through it, but I just want you guys to pay attention to how this paper will stay organized or stay on track without that thesis statement, right? So if anything, it can kind of teach us the importance of including a thesis statement. Okay, so it says here, attending a college English class helped me learn a little bit more about myself as a writer. Writing that essay and getting back a paper that had been marked up with mistakes, some mistakes more than others, I was really shocked. I noticed I need more practice with run-on sentences. Seeing this really helped me more. I never took into consideration or went more in depth about run-on sentences or fragments while in high school. I feel I just had gotten better in being able to express myself on paper and knowing how to use different punctuations. I also noticed I needed more help in being able to give examples or explain why I choose to write about a certain topic or sentence. For example, I can say the man jumped over the rock, but I will not explain why the man decided to jump over the rock. It's little things that I would never have thought that could make a paper that much more interesting. Okay, so I can see in this paragraph the learning that the student is identifying, but I can tell you this paragraph would be deducted, this essay would be deducted major points in that there still is no thesis for me to attach this body paragraph to, okay? So you don't want to forget or leave out that answer to the question, in what ways have you grown and developed as a reader, writer, and critical thinker? That answer is missing, okay? So I see them attempt to give us some example explanation here. So I can assume, and keep in mind, you don't ever want to make your audience have to assume what you mean, but I can assume that I guess they feel that they improved with run-ons and fragments. Did you guys pick that up too?
Yep.
Okay, I'll take it. Let me move on. It says, after the professor got a glimpse as to what everyone needed more help in, he started to have us watch different videos that will help with our writing. I made sure I paid attention to what I needed to work on, not only because I want to pass the class, but because I want to become a great writer. By the time I had to write my midterm paper, I believe I had gotten a little bit better. The professor sat me down to talk to me about how I did on my midterms, and the outcome was better than I expected. He stated I had received the highest grade in the class for my writing paper, which was a 75%. Although I still have some things to work on, I was actually proud of myself. Okay, so.
Can you put the screen a little bit over? We can't see like the full text. We just see like half of it.
Now, will you perhaps need to, I don't think I can move it because it's a PDF. So let me see, hold on, if I can perhaps make it bigger.
Sometimes, Shania, you be able to move it on your phone yourself.
Yeah, you may be, yeah, because there's.
Oh, okay, I see it. Thank you.
Okay. So where it says, knowing what I know now about writing in general, I will say I'm actually looking forward to entering English 101. I know it will be a little more difficult, but as long as I am getting the necessary tools I need for writing, I should be able to succeed. All in all, I learned a lot, especially about annotation, a paper, and being able to write a 5-paragraph essay. Even though I was struggling with my first paper, my midterm paper showed me I am capable of getting anything done. All I have to do is keep practicing and pay close attention to the little things. As for grammar, as far as grammar, punctuation, run-on sentences, and word choice, through it all, I am proud to say I am glad I took English 96. Okay, here's what I think, how we can tie in this particular essay. In comparing this essay to the essay we read previously, I think one can be a model more so on what we want to do, and one can be a model on what we want to make sure we avoid doing, okay? So with the first essay that we took a look at, there's a clear thesis. There is a clear identification of the areas in which the student has grown and developed, okay? So again, you want to directly answer that question and include your thesis in your introduction. We can consider the second sample as a cautionary tale of what happens when we leave out a thesis statement. So did you guys kind of see how the second essay lacked a particular type of organization? It somewhat didn't center on a main idea. Did you guys notice that with that second essay?
Yes, you can tell. Even like from the when you're reading it, it doesn't sound too good, like reading out loud.
Yeah, it's very difficult to I'll say follow. It's difficult to follow a paper if I can't point back to, okay, yeah, this is showing how she improved in her writing because now she considers the feedback, or she got extra help in this particular area. It was almost as though we were feeling our way around that paper. And that is a very good example of what happens when we leave out thesis, when we don't directly answer the question. So make your first step that brainstorming, generating ideas, so that you have clearly come to a response. You have your clear ideas on what your answer is to that question. Once you know what those ideas are, they are much easier to outline. And in that first essay, the student had those clear ideas. They specifically pointed to reading comprehension skills. So it was clear that the area that that student improved on was reading comprehension skills. When it came to writing, they talked about the accepting of criticism, so using feedback to improve. That's specifically answering the question in areas that we can then use to organize our paper. So we see here that with that specific response, one paragraph supports specifically how the student improved by using their reading comprehension skills. We go to that second body paragraph and see clearly how that student improved by accepting the feedback or criticism of others. So try not to skip steps in responding to this essay question. Don't just put pen to paper and say, boom, bam, I'm going to town on my response. Try to organize it. Try to clearly know your answer or response, and then use your body paragraphs to lay out the evidence. So that's what I wanted you guys to also see. With the revisions on with our first essay, you guys definitely got better with your supporting details, but I feel we can always do more with our supporting details. I'll be honest. It's kind of like you guys give me just enough to whet my appetite, and then you move on to the next paragraph. Try to be very thorough in your details. So you guys can see here, the student offers clear explanation, thorough discussion of how they, using that specific idea, whether it is reading comprehension skills, how they grew and improved, how they developed throughout the semester. So they give us, almost a story of, here's where I was at first, here's what helped me to kind of get better. Once I was able to practice that, I had better results. So they're taking us thoroughly through that growth and development. So try not to give me, here's my only single one example, and now I'm moving on to my next paragraph. So it should be a reflection in that you're looking back on your time in this class this semester. You're looking back on where you struggled. You're telling that story, and then also supporting how you've grown and improved with that, right? Look, does that make sense?
Yes.
Is there anyone who feels like you may need to look at another one? Should we need to Should we look at another? I kind of want to look at one that includes clearly critical thinking. Look, can we look at one more?
Yep.
All right, give me 1 second. I'm going to pull from some of my former students because they were asked specifically to discuss the critical thinking. So let me show you guys a sample of that. Look, and I won't lose you. All right, I think I like this one. Jennifer, I'll look at this one. Look, I'm feeling around in the dark on this. So pull this one up. And this too is a student sample. It's one that a student turned in last semester, spring semester. So let's look at this. All right. So we'll go through this one really quickly. So you guys see, all right, reflective. So it starts off, the last couple of months this semester, I have grown and developed as a reader, writer, and critical thinker by having a better mindset on my work while thinking about what I want to write about or when I'm annotating the text. Hold on, I may stop on this one. Give me just 1 second. I want it to be useful. Hold on, give me 1 second. Okay, okay. All right, so this one may be okay. The student, okay, let me read it, I'm sorry. It says, the last couple of months this semester, I have grown and developed as a reader, writer, and critical thinker by having a better mindset on my work while thinking about what I want to write about or when I'm annotating a text. I've also become better with punctuation and learned the meaning of where to use them. English was never my favorite subject throughout high school. I struggled a lot with my writing skills as well as my reading comprehension the last 4 years. This English class I took this semester really helped me with everything I needed help with during high school. It taught me how to properly write a thesis, how to annotate and understand this subject, which gives me the confidence of feeling good when turning in an assignment. Okay, so it's a little choppy intro, but I think if I could pinpoint a thesis statement, it's this last sentence here where the student says, in specifically pinpointing how they have grown and developed, they have developed as a writer and saying that they now know how to properly write a thesis. So that's the specific answer. Where they talk about a reader, they feel that they have grown in how to annotate. And for critical thinking, they feel that in having a better understanding of the subject gives them confidence, okay? So they're talking about their understanding and how it gives confidence. So we have our 3 points here. So with these 3 points, I know what to look for in the text, okay? So we see that broke down. Now, I will say that the intro could be better organized. It was kind of choppy to get through, but just keep that in mind. All right, let's go into the next paragraph. It says, reading an article during class, I would never really understand what exactly I was reading. By learning how to annotate and break down the text paragraph by paragraph, it helped me understand what I'm reading. This improved my reading by helping me find the main idea of the text and by understanding and comparing the text with my own personal experiences. That also helps me understand the text better. Also, annotating with a better mindset has helped me improve my understanding of what I'm reading and what exactly I'm going to be able to write about. So I can see in this paragraph that the student is attempting to lay out specifically how annotating has helped them with their reading. So they talk about taking it paragraph by paragraph, looking for the main ideas, connecting those main ideas with their own personal experience, how all of it helped them to understand a text better. So that's good detail, and it's clear. they also are attempting to tie in that mindset. See, once you mentioned it in that thesis, she knew she had to kind of carry it throughout, or in her introduction, she knew she had to carry that idea of mindset throughout the paper. So here you can see she's attempting to, again, you know, connect back to the idea that her mindset, this changing mindset, has helped her to improve as well. So we see that. Let's go to this next paragraph. So it says, writing for me was something I always struggled on in English class. I wouldn't know what to write about or how to start the first paragraph. Generating ideas was hard for me because I wouldn't understand what the main idea of the text was or comprehend what I had just read. What I think helped me improve with that was our journal entry. That helped me generate better ideas on how to think about what I'm writing. It made me think outside the box about what I should write about. Writing essays and summaries was more understanding, and by brainstorming ideas, it helped me with starting an essay and having an outline to find out what I will be writing about to have a better understanding with the reader. So here we can see clearly they went from talking about how they improved as a reader to now talking about how they improved as a writer. And in doing so, they lay out some specific details to help support. They talk about generating ideas, that's part of the writing process. They talk about writing in the journals, and summaries also help them, help their writing skills. They talked also about, by brainstorming ideas, it helped to have an outline. So they're talking about several different things. Hold on really quick. I'm going back to the thesis just to make sure that we're still on track with what they talked about. See, here they said they learned how to properly write a thesis. So I do feel like they got a tad bit off track here in that they didn't mention thesis writing at all in this paragraph. Do you guys see that?
Yeah.
So you see how we talk about paragraph unity and coherence. I did feel I was getting a little bit lost in this paragraph because we are moving away from that thesis. They deviated. So just again, remember the overall importance of your thesis. It dictates what your body paragraphs will discuss. Now, it's not to say you can't add additional things. You can, especially if it's on topic with that. But here she left out writing about the thesis altogether. Okay. All right, let's move on. It says, while improving and having a better mindset, it helped me improve with my reading and writing and how to properly use punctuation and where to use them. Something I was not able to do before. I never really understood what some punctuation was used for, like a semicolon, not knowing the ideas must be related to use it properly, or commas. I would think it was meant to connect complete ideas. In high school, they never really taught us how to properly punctuate, and now I feel like it is something very important that they should have helped us with. How I improved proper punctuation was by having a discussion in class about it, set by set, and it helped me with my writing as well as my reading. Okay, so here they're still talking about writing, but it's more so about the mindset. So we may be getting a little bit off track, but let's look at how they finalize it. It says, this class improved my mindset and it helped me grow and develop as a reader, writer, and critical thinker. It made me more confident in my work and helped me learn how to properly use punctuation. While learning how to break down the text to annotate, reading paragraph by paragraph helped me understand the text, and it helped me learn how to think on what I want to write about. During my journal entries, it helped me think and brainstorm more ideas on how to start a paragraph. All this helped me become a better writer and have a better mindset on exactly everything when it comes to reading, writing, and critical thinking. All right, I selected this kind of randomly, but we can see that the student attempted to address all three. The execution of the critical thinking, I believe it got lost as we got halfway through the essay, but you can clearly see that in reading, they talked about annotation just as it was pointed out in the thesis. In writing, They talked about writing a thesis helped them, but here they gave some details. As a scorer, I would deduct points in that it deviates from the main idea. And here I can tell that they are attempting to talk about critical thinking. I think it would have been more successful had she used the term critical thinking to help tie it in. But by saying a better mindset, it helped me improve. Even when she went back into confidence, I think that was something she did tie into her thesis. So hopefully with those three, look, I'll give another example. I'll post it to Brightspace so you guys can look at it as you prepare over the weekend. But if nothing else, what I want you guys to take away from, kind of looking through these samples, kind of some ideas of what you definitely want to do and some ideas of what you want to make sure you avoid. So it's been useful in that you guys can even see yourself what goes wrong when we do not stick to our thesis. You see what tends to go wrong when we deviate. So for your reader, this is good review in that now that you guys are audience members, right? You can write this paper a little bit more effectively in, what the audience will be looking for when they write this text, right? Clear organization, a clear connection back to your thesis, and you guys can tell from these body paragraphs, explanation, explanation, explanation. So anytime you struggle to explain, then I would say, well, consider, did learning really take place in that area? Because when that learning is genuine, when it really happened, when it's something that you worked through, you guys have seen the body paragraphs of students who can genuinely walk through or talk you through how they have grown and developed, right? It says, in what ways have you grown and developed? So they clearly are talking us through, walking us through the ways that they've grown and developed in the class. So you don't want to just mention it and then move on. You want to go into detail. You want to go into explanation. Consider it again as a narrative essay where you are telling your individual story, your journey towards growth and development as a reader, writer, and critical thinker. So what do you guys think? What do we have any questions? What do you think about what you just read? I know that there are errors. If anything, hopefully you guys can see too the importance of, before you submit final, if you can proofread it, how important that is in kind of really grasping those last final points. Look, what do you guys think?
Well, you got to stay on track and answer the question.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the premise, the entire foundation of essay writing, right? It's all about sticking with the topic, which is how you've improved as a reader, writer, critical thinker. So that topic is huge. But also what drives that topic is your ideas. So you want to specifically answer that question. Lay out clearly the ways that you've grown and developed, and then use your body paragraphs to help you lay out the evidence, the explanation, and the details to support it, right? What do you guys think about the conclusion? I can tell you this. We know that conclusions generally always reiterate or summarize the author's main point, but it also addresses why it all matters. So you can also talk about, even though I've grown in these areas, I still, I'm still aware that I need to work on, other areas, in moving on to English 101, I plan to get more practice with this, you know what I mean? So try to use your conclusion, if you can, as a kind of final thought on the topic. I think that's always effective as well. So Look, lasting thoughts. What do you guys think? Let me go ahead and close out of this. Are we feeling a little bit more confident about what we have to do with this? Are we feeling more lost? What are we thinking?
More confident.
More confident. What do you think, Jennifer, Yamna, Dwayne? What do you guys think?
I feel more comfortable.
Okay. All right. I'll post the samples to Brightspace. I'll also post another. Again, I want to see a more concrete version in terms of critical thinking. But you guys see how the students from time to time, they were bringing in what they read. We've seen mindset before, right? Like in the Maria Popova text. So I saw students revisit this whole idea that for critical thinking, what was normally getting in the way was this operating from a fixed mindset. So once they elevated their mindset, changed how they thought about writing or reading, changed their attitude or assumptions about it, then they would also get better. So with critical thinking, it seems abstract, right? You're like, what can I point to prove critical thinking? So try to be open to the idea that with critical thinking, it's broad. It can be how you approach reading and writing. It can be how you connect it with the text. Connections really take thinking to another level. So that is critical thinking. You can talk about, I would say the journal entries. The journal entries, I was a little bit more guided. I was really giving you guys specific things to write about. So, but if that helped you to develop critical thinking, nothing is off limits is pretty much what I want you guys to feel comfortable.
Yeah, the journal kind of helped me a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so in talking about how you explore the prompts or anything like that, but try not to limit yourself when you approach critical thinking. Critical thinking can take on many different forms, whether or not you're talking about mindset, your attitude, right? That could be critical thinking as well. I changed the way I thought about it. I used to hate reading, but once my attitude changed, I was able to, approach it differently. So critical thinking could also be the discussions, how the discussions in class, how, discussing things with your peers also helped you to kind of get a better understanding. That works as critical thinking. So again, if you guys haven't submitted journal entry 6, I want to take a peek, because in taking a peek at that, I can really help, if I can, if you guys need it, I can help you with direction, where perhaps based on this free write or journal entry, help you, direct you to the direction for your essay. So if you need that help, let me know. I have office hours tomorrow. I think it's from 10:30 to 11:30, that if you wanted to meet up to discuss, we can do that. But try to have something prepped. Even if on your paper you write grown as a reader, and then specifically identify grown as a writer, specific answer, even if you start with just that 3, that's an outline, because that helps you put together a thesis, that helps you to organize your body paragraph. So try to have something prepared to help you get through that 5-paragraph assignment, okay? Don't want to scare you too much. It's really hard to go wrong with it, because it's your ideas. Like it is your story of growth and development. So what it will boil down to is execution. Essay structure. Is there a thesis? Does the body paragraph support that thesis? Did the student outline the evidence and details? you know, to help them develop that thesis. Does the conclusion operate as it should? So you are just plugging in the ideas. I'm looking at execution of those ideas. Okay. All right, you guys know I can over explain, so I'll stop because I don't want to put too much on you with that. But if you have any concerns, you guys know how you feel on the inside. If you have any concerns, definitely reach out. Okay.
Okay. Will that third sample be a good sample?
I know, right, Robert? Yes, it will. I really was, even from the one that I just picked, that was one of my better students from the spring, but I can definitely tell she rushed all the way through that reflective. Yeah, it'll be a better sample. Can I say Jocelyn?
Ms. Cole.
Yes, ma'am.
I had a question about the practice you gave us with the 8 questions.
Yes.
Okay, I share mine with you, or did you want us to turn it in and like drop it or anything?
Well, you should have submitted it in assignments. So
I looked in assignments and I didn't see it.
Okay, hold on. Let me pull it. Hold on, because I got it up right here. Let me pull it up. Yeah, because I'm only going to assignments to check it. So I don't want to, I'm not going, the Dropbox is only for journals. So I wouldn't be going to the Dropbox for anything other than journals. So hold on, let me see. From the assignments. Shania, I have yours.
My 8 questions?
Yeah.
I don't see
the 8.
it on
No,
there.
I'm sorry. You're talking about sentence types. That's what you're talking
Yeah,
about?
the practice.
You can email that to me. Yeah. Don't put it in the Dropbox. I wouldn't go to the Dropbox.
Okay.
So you can email that to me. I think you said you shared it. So sharing, like I would get an email notification that you shared it. So that's still email.
Okay.
But yeah, but don't put it with journals because I wouldn't go to the journals to look for it. What were you going to say, Yamna?
I'm asking about 8 sentence. Again, now you want I submit?
Yeah, email you guys. So you would email it to me. Did I tell you to email?
Oh, I think this is only practice, not in class.
Hold on, let me pull it up so you guys know what we're discussing. Hold on, let me pull it up for you. So I was looking at Only Daughter, but we're talking about from week 7 module, the sentence types question. Now, if you haven't done this yet, look, I don't want anybody to be like, oh my goodness, this is another assignment. I will make the sentence types assignment. This will be extra credit, okay? I'll make this an extra credit assignment. If you guys are missing any assignments, it can work in place for any assignment that may have been missing with the homework. So in-class participation, it can only cover in-class participation missing assignments. It won't cover any journals or discussion boards. It will only count as extra credit for any missing in-class participation assignment. So it's optional. We'll make it a extra credit opportunity, okay? So Jennifer, I know you sent yours in already. I got the email. I don't know if anyone else has, but if you haven't, weigh it against, do I need this extra credit? Or if not, so we'll make it optional. But let me show you what it is. Hold on.
So you said we have to, if, I can't explain this. Can you hear me, Ms. Cole?
I can hear you. Is that
I'm
Jamisha?
sorry. Yeah, this is Jamisha. So say for instance, if I have full participation, like it won't just go towards anything or just extra points.
We'll
I
talk
have
about
the
it.
assignment regardless, but
Yeah,
I
we'll
was just
talk
trying to
about
see.
it. Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and submit it. That's fine. We'll work it in somewhere. Okay. So this is the document that we're referring to, you guys, just in case anyone is confused about what we're talking about with the 8 sentences. That is this sentence type handout. And I posted this as homework. So I know that, a lot of you guys are working on other things. If you didn't get a chance to do it and you feel like you're good, you don't need to do it, then that's fine. If you want an extra credit opportunity, I can use this in place of any other assignment that you may have missed that perhaps you weren't able to submit. I can use it in its place. So you can still submit it to get your credit on that. I wanted to, since some people haven't completed it, for those of you who do submit, I will respond with, if you got anything wrong, I'll respond with the right answer, just so you guys can really get your learning out of this, okay? But you guys were asked to read the 8 sentences and identify whether it is a simple sentence, a complex sentence, compound, or compound complex. So it gives us just a little bit more practice with that idea of sentence types. Okay, so that's there. All right. There was another assignment here that I think I saw you turn this in, Robert, but that's good. That'll work as well. We'll make it work. But I did want to talk to you guys about the commonly confused words. Did you guys get a chance to take a look at, this particular handout? Commonly confused words?
Yeah.
Illusion versus
No.
illusion, among versus between. As you guys are going into that college level 101 course, definitely look at these commonly confused words. These are words that sometimes when we move too fast in our writing, we may, in our haste, select the wrong word, but it isn't easily identifiable by spell check, because it's not that you spelled the word wrong. It's just simply a case of using a word wrong. So it will really depend on your proofreading skills to catch words that are used incorrectly. And some of the words that I see a lot, especially in our writing in the class, is this than versus then. Do you guys see this here?
Yeah.
So I'll see students kind of taking me through a step or the process. First Malcolm X read the dictionary, then he copied each word, right? So anytime you're talking about a process or a step, something that's showing out time, what you did first and what you did next, we look at then, THEN. I went to the store, then I went to my mother's house, right? Something like that. It's showing a timeline and it's also showing a process. Now that's different than using than. And I see this in our papers where we confuse then for than. Than is always a comparison. So I may say he's taller than him. Or right here they say I like vanilla more than chocolate. So the THAN version is only used when we are making a comparison. It's hotter in Texas than it is in Illinois, something like that. Anytime we're drawing these comparisons. So definitely review and take a look at this sheet. Here where you guys see there versus there versus there. Do we see this? I see this a lot. And even though in some cases I'll point it out in the feedback, even in the revised version, I didn't necessarily see it fixed. But I do want you guys to be aware of when we're using there, or there, because you can use the wrong version and it will throw off the entire entire meaning of that particular sentence. Not only will it throw off the meaning, it's jarring to an audience member in that, it's clear that a word is being used incorrectly. I think I see this pointed out on social media more than anything, right? Do you guys see a lot of instances where, commonly, some words are commonly confused more than others? Do you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah, especially this version, there, and there. So really read there, the THEIR, that's a pronoun. So if I'm saying that, the car is theirs, that is their dog, that is, their book, anything to show possession, that's a possessive pronoun. We're using the THEIR version, right? That is their dog in the backyard. We're talking about possession. It indicates possession or relationship. So we use the THEIR. Now this there, have you guys ever heard from instructors who will tell you avoid using contractions? Have you guys heard a teacher tell you that before?
No.
Like, have you guys ever in your either grammar school or high school English classes or ELA classes had the teacher tell you to eliminate contractions from your writing?
Oh,
They probably have, but I don't remember.
I know when I used to teach high school, I would say, now read through it and eliminate all contractions, because what contractions are, sometimes they're a form of informal text, but also contractions can be a setup. They can set you up to use the wrong version. Most of the time when the wrong word is used, it's because it's in use of a contraction. So the contraction, they are, which is, there is short for they are. This, I feel, shouldn't even be confused for there or there, because technically it is they are. So it gets confused because students opt to use that contraction. So when you're proofreading, if you proofread it as its formal meaning, not the contraction there, but if you say they are, you can quickly catch that you used the wrong version. So there, it's a contraction of they are. So they're going to the amusement park on Friday. This includes the subject they and the verb are, part of going to. But students confuse this a lot. And in proofreading is when you would normally catch this error. We also have there, which is used to refer to a location, right? We're going to meet there, I'll meet you there, or, put your book bag down there. That's always, the THERE version is always in reference to a location or a position, or time. You guys have heard like be there or be square, right? It's always used to pinpoint location, position, or time. So proofreading is really, necessary. It's vital when you are using some of the commonly confused words. Through the proofreading process is normally when you'll catch it. I'll tell you this, when I write emails, when I update my announcements, sometimes just the speed of working through it, I can quickly, by mistake, grab the wrong use of the word. So it does happen. It happens even if you know better. But what will allow you to catch it will be that proofreading process. So another one I'll talk about quickly before we do a quick exercise associated with this. The two versus two, the TO versus TOO. And I always get excited when I see students use TOO correctly, because I cannot tell you how often it is misused. So we know the TO, that's a form of a verb that is used to form infinitive, the predicate phrases, I am going to the store, we are going to meet up. So it's normally used with the verb. And it helps to set up movement, to actually express movement towards something. So it is important to tell the truth. We can talk about it there as an infinitive form of the verb, or in terms of expressing movement. We are going to the mall, you know, I am going to meet you there. So that's the TO version. But sometimes students confuse that TO with the TOO. And TOO is used to show an extensive degree of also. So anytime we say me too, you know, that's saying me also. So it says he is, or it says I am going to the movies too. Here, TOO is showing also. It's a synonym. But look here when we say he is too young for that ride. TOO can also show an extensive degree. You know, I was too tired to complete my homework that evening. That TOO version is emphasizing just how tired I was, right? So it shows an extensive degree. He is too young for that ride, TOO, showing that, you know, again, he falls, you know, below, you know, the guidelines for that ride. So he is, you know, he is too sweet to me. Look, you guys know I use that word sweet a lot, but you know, he's too sweet. TOO means he's extremely nice. He's to an extensive degree. He's really, you know, nice or caring, etc. So I use TOO a lot. It shows, it adds that extra emphasis, right? So be aware of when we use the TO and TOO. There's a lot here. So definitely take time to go through it. Here's another, the whose versus whose. See, here's another contraction. Things get hairy when we rely heavily on those contractions, because they set you up to misuse a word sometime. So whose is a pronoun that expresses possession. So whose car are we taking, right? Whose shoes are over in the corner? We're looking at who does that belong to. The whose deals with possession. That's a pronoun. But we also have the whose, which is a contraction for who is. Who's going to the concert? And I see this confused a lot. Who is going to the concert? So we'll get more practice. I'll lay out a few here, but there is a small activity I want us to do before we leave. We're getting out of here. That I want to show you guys. Give me 1 second. And it allows us to kind of have a little bit of fun with this. If I can find it. I have quite a bit of bookmarks. Hold on, you can. All right, here it is. So look, we'll do this. I'll do my best not to be too corny with this, but let me get you guys, hold on, let me clear this up. Let me drag you guys into what it is I'm doing here. All right, so let's take a look. Let me share my screen. And this is what'll get us out of here today. All right, if you guys have the window in the side of your screen that's blocking your view, you can kind of manipulate that, move it out of the way. But this is like an old school Jeopardy game, right? Where it really deals with testing our ability to identify the correct usage of a word. So this is taking what we've just talked about in terms of those commonly confused words, and it's testing our knowledge on it, right? Are you guys able to identify the right, the correct word for the sentence? So we could break it up into teams, but I don't know if I really want to go deep into that. Look, I get competitive. I don't know if we really need to go there, but let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I have another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's look at it this way. Team 1, let me get me, Robert. Oh, I'm jotting it down. Me, Robert, Yamna.
I saw her if I'm on the team you on.
No, I mean, okay. Right. I shouldn't be on the team. Okay, you're right. Okay, good. No, I'm not on the team. Robert, Yamna, Jennifer, Jamisha. All right, we'll make that one team. Okay. Another team will make it Tara, Dwayne, Shania. Okay, well, I'm gonna throw on this earlier team, Julie. Julie, I'm gonna put you on a team with Jamisha, and I'll throw Tara, Dwayne, Shania, Tamicia on another team. So that kind of keeps our numbers right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. All right. Only when it's that team's turn can, someone on that particular team answer. Okay. So we'll try to keep it organized like that. But all right. How shall we get started? Let me default to team 2. We'll start with team 2. All right, team 2, somebody that's Tara, Dwayne, Shania, Tamicia. If you guys will pick for me a category, that's anybody want a peanut, I like your sleeves, they're real big, why so serious, I'm a peacock, or stretchy pants, it's for fun. I know you guys. Pick one of those categories, and then another person on that same team pick a value, and we'll get started that way. So team 2, let's start with you. What category do we want, you guys? Since there's no time to confer, somebody on team 2 just throw me out something.
I like your sleeves. They're real big.
Okay, so that was Shania?
Yeah.
Okay, now somebody else pick out a value on team 2. That's my Tara, Dwayne, Shania, Tamicia.
100.
100?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. All right, so it says the weather outside is frightful. Which one is the correct usage? Team 2. All right, let me see. Hold on, I got it here in chat. All right, so Dwayne.
The weather.
Okay, so the one. All right, I got one from Dwayne. He says weather, and he takes the WEATHER. Okay. Do you guys in group 2, do we all agree with that? I see Tara says it as well.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that is the correct version. So you guys get your points. For that. Look, am I right on that? That is correct. So I'm doing space.
Don't try to get too many, Miss Cole. Now
I'm gonna try. I'm doing my best. All right. So good. Okay. So you guys are correct on that. All right. So team 1, that's my Robert, Yamna, Jamisha, Julie. There's another J. Jennifer. Okay.
Yeah.
What category do you guys want to go with? Somebody can just throw something out, and then I'll let somebody else pick a value.
Why so serious?
Why so serious? All right, somebody. I heard 500. Gotta win.
Yeah.
Okay. So we just talked about this. Okay, team 1. Who?
the WOSE.
I'm sorry.
The second one.
Okay, hold on. Let me read it. Hold on.
Oh, I thought we were supposed to. I'm sorry.
Hold on. All right, whose book are you reading? Which one is the correct version? So I heard the second
one. Yeah, second one.
Okay, are we all in agreement with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. What are they saying this answer is? Sorry, look. Reveal. Okay, good. So it is the second one. So you guys get that 500 points there. All right, good. So team 2, we got to come a little bit more with picking the value, but throw out a category for me. Anyone on team 2? Tara, Dwayne, Shania, Tamicia.
We'll go for 500.
Which
and
one?
I'm a peacock. You got to let me fly on this one.
All right. All right, so this one says car emissions, is it affect with an A or effect the environment? What is the correct usage for this statement?
Is it affect?
Which one is that one? You're talking about the A?
Yeah.
All right, so does the group, what do we think overall with the group?
This one always get me, so I gotta take consensus.
Okay, well, hold on, Robert, because this is
like
group
it's with
2.
a E.
Yeah, this is
like
group
it's going
2.
with E. Oh, it's not for us?
Nuh-uh, this is group 2.
Oh, I thought it was overall. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Wait a minute, who picked this? Wasn't that Shania who picked this?
Yeah, it was Shania. This is Jamisha talking
Yeah,
about.
I picked this.
Okay, so with Tara, Dwayne, Shania, Tamicia, which one are we going with? Oh, I see something in chat. Okay, I see effect. Okay, Tara says, okay. Do you guys agree? We're gonna go with it. I'm gonna go with that one. Hold on, let me move this out of my way. All right, let's look and see what they say. It is the A, it's affect. Car emissions affect the environment. So I'm adding, well, I can't deduct you guys, but I may have to deduct you on that. But we'll come back and look at the affect and effects. I think let's look at that because I can see how you got E. I can see how you picked E in that you were looking at cause and effect. I know what you were doing. So we'll talk about that one. We'll come back out of this discussion and look at that a little bit deeper. Okay. All right. So let's go to group 2.
Group 1.
I'm sorry, group 1. I'm coming back to you. All right. Pick a category and a value. And somebody who hasn't picked yet.
Now, Miss Cole, now you got to do it for the next one.
Okay, I'm going to do it for the next one. Go ahead.
500. Like your sleeve. Okay.
I like your sleeves. Okay, we'll hit this.
Let's see. Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
Y'all got an easy one. See, that's not right, team 2. We're going to talk about this because this is something we've seen already. But who's going trick-or-treating?
Who is going trick-or-treating?
Yeah, the first one.
I hear everybody pretty much saying the first one. I hear Yamna. I hear Robert. I hear Jamisha. I think I hear you too, Julia. Oh, a fly. I'm sorry. All right, let's look and see whose is correct. So you guys get, I can tell, look, I can tell Jamisha. I turn everything into a competition. It's so crazy.
Me too. Oh, that's sad.
My kids look at me like, okay, really, but did you win? I'm like, I won. So let's look at team 2. What do you guys think? We got to come back. So what are we doing, team 2? Category and value.
Anybody want to pin up 500?
Anybody want to pin up 500? Okay. That behavior will not be accepted, ACC, or accepted, EX. Which one is the correct use of the word?
I'm finna put my hands in the chat.
Miss Cole.
Yes.
Instead of like deducting, can we make it so we can steal points?
No.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Instead of deducting, what's I'm sorry.
I have to deduct from theirs, but make it so we can steal theirs. Like if they get it wrong, like we.
No, ma'am, Jermisha. Look, I think that's on double jeopardy when you get to steal. But
okay, I ain't gonna do it then.
So what do you guys think? My group 2, that's Tara, Dwayne, Shania, Tamisie. What do we think is the correct use here? Is it that behavior will not be accepted or accepted?
Accepted with the A.
Okay, I see that. Okay, I see that from all of you guys. So we're gonna go with, let's see. Oh, I want to let me. Okay, good. So you guys got that correct. That is ACC accepted. We know that anytime we look at the ACC acceptance, just like you get an acceptance letter, accept excludes. So that's someone who, you know, accept. I'll take everyone except him or her. So good. You guys did well with that. Let's, team 1, let's go to you. And then for our next one, we'll have a double jeopardy. So team 2 get a chance to pick up some points. All right, what do you guys think, team 1?
500.
Jamisha.
Oh, okay.
That's fine. I don't know. Should I let y'all get 500? Will my other team get a chance if y'all take the last 500?
Cheating now.
I know. All right, let's see.
Maybe you can let them have it.
This is for team 1, team 2.
This is team 1. So this is you guys.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah, this is team 1. The rain had an AFF effect or EFF effect on Harry's mood. We're talking about mood.
See, that's why I get confused.
Effect?
An effect one, or because it kind of could go like both.
Yeah, you know, there's certain rules involved with the AFF and EFF. We'll talk about it. This is just kind of testing your knowledge.
The A.
All right, I hear A. Do you guys agree, Yamna, Robert, Julia? What do you guys think?
Effect?
Who was that? Was that Jennifer?
Yes.
And you
So
said
what-
which one did you say, Jennifer? The A or the E?
E.
Okay, she says E.
E.
Who else says E? Is that you, Julia?
I hope this is my group because I'm in group 1, right, Miss?
You are group 1, Julia. You group 1.
Okay,
But,
and this is group 2 talking.
Okay, so we have A and E. We're kind of split, but let me get the majority, I guess. So I heard Jennifer say E. Who else said E?
Give me one.
I said.
Yamna.
Oh, Yamna did
Yeah.
as well. So you, Jermisha, you're going towards the A. What about you, Robert?
I say the E.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're gonna go with the E because the E is the majority. Okay, so let's look at what it is. It's E.
Oh.
You guys got it.
Okay.
That is good. Good job. Good job. So who was that tiebreaker? That was Robert.
Yup.
All right. Okay, let's go on back.
Oh no, Miss Cole, I quit.
Who is this? That's Shania.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Okay, so let's make this one for team 2. This is double jeopardy. So whatever it is, you guys will get double the points. I mean, but I'll give team 1 that opportunity too. Don't worry.
Okay.
But team 2, what do you guys want to go with? What category?
We would take 400. I like your sleeves. They're too big.
Okay. Look, team 2, y'all be getting these hard ones. Okay. It says the guidance counselor or counselor gave me advice about my future. So which is the correct use? Is it the counselor SE or is it counselor CI? Which one is the correct one? I see. Let me see here. All right. Tara says counselor COUNSELOR. Do you guys agree, team 2?
Give me 1 second. I'm
Okay. I hear counselor. Wait a minute. Now, why am I giving you a second? Are you looking something up?
Right.
No,
Miss Cole, that sounds
I'm just trying to see which one sound better with it.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so Tamicia, she says she agrees with Tara, so I got 2 on this. What else? What do you think, Dwayne? Shania, those are the last 2 I'm waiting to hear from.
I think I kind of disagree, so that's why I'm.
Okay. Okay, let me see. I got something in my chat. Okay, and Dwayne agrees with Tamicia and Tara. So we got a majority. We are going to go with Counselor. All right, let's see. That is correct. Good, you guys. Let me give you that 400 plus another 400. Okay. All right, good. Let me do, I guess we'll do, you know what, on this last one, whoever, so this is double jeopardy as well, but this gives anyone a chance. This is anyone. So rather than making this team, whoever yells out, and let me pull it up here so I can see who's yelling out. Whoever answers with the correct answer will win kind of this double jeopardy. We'll get those points, okay? Whatever team you represent, that's whose answer I'm taking. So I'll pick. Let me do 400. No, let me do Why So Serious. Here's another. It was an
EX.
Except.
Yes, the second one.
I think I heard Julia first on this one.
Oh,
wait,
my.
Look, is that Julia? Because
Yes, Miss Cole.
I heard.
Oh, yeah, that was Julia. That was Julia.
That was Julia. I heard her.
Yeah.
That's EX. Is that what we're going with?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. It's
Oh,
EX.
She on our team, Miss Cole.
Julia. Oh man, she on team 1. Look, not to be biased, but I really wanted team 2 to kind of get in it. So that was 800. So you guys got it. Okay. This is what my son would call a blowout, but that's okay. We're not really in competition. Look, wink, wink. So good. That is correct. That was the EX version. It was an easy class except for the final exam. We know anytime we look at except, we're looking at excluding. So it was easy, excluding all of my, excluding everything but that final exam. So you guys see that here. All right, good. You guys, I'm sorry, did somebody say something?
No.
Okay. So you guys did well with that. Let me go back to really quickly the affect and effect. I want to talk about that really quickly before we go, because I think that was a little bit of a confusing, that is definitely a commonly confused word, affect, effect. Okay, I'm pulling it up on the screen just so you guys can kind of see it again, and then we'll get on out of here. Okay, so effect is a result or consequence, and it's usually a noun. So there's a rule when you use effect. And even though sometimes I can look at something and say, oh no, but it's an effect. Like it is a cause, it is a effect based on a cause. And I can want to say it's an effect, EFF, but it will depend on how it's used. So this really does get tricky. Use of the word effect, EFF, normally will be it's usually a noun. So where it says the effect was catastrophic, right? Catastrophic, catastrophe, that's a noun. So we can see here that it's pointing to the noun, whereas effect can also function as a verb meaning to bring about something. So he affected the change in the existing system. So it operating either as noun or verb, okay? Now, when we deal with affect, we're looking at an impression, influence, or effect on something. So this usually depending on how it's used, will determine, you know, proper use of the word. So this greatly affected his mental state that evening. I think that's what we missed. The question talked about mental state or mood, right? And anytime we talk about that, an impression, a mood is an impression. It's how you are, your attitude is influenced. That's going to be the AFF. Anything that affects your mood, mental state, talks about an effect. I think we talked about the effect on environment, right? And we found out it was the AFF. Well, anything talking about an effect on something is affected. I know this is one of those you guys want to study, because what word you use will depend on how it is used in the sentence. So proofreading, it all again goes back to you proofreading it and then making the decision. All right. So with that, we can go ahead and get ready to close out for today. Technically, you guys, this is the last time we will all be together. So this is our last all together class meeting. So since I won't have you all together again, you know, the next time we meet, it'll be our individual meeting with the results. Since I won't have you all together again, I do want to tell you guys, this is my first time teaching this class online. So I just want you guys to know how I appreciate the hard work you guys put into the class. I appreciate your participation, because I know it's not easy in you know, this particular format. I appreciate you guys taking everything that has been thrown at you and doing the work and showing up and asking for help when you need help. It has made what is normally a difficult transition. This class is not designed to be taught online. So what I was worried about at first, you guys made it so much easier. And I want to tell you, I appreciate that. You guys did an awesome job. So I hope you know that. But even though we won't all see each other again as a class, oh, thanks, Jamisha. I do want you guys to know that, keep in mind that even if you find yourself in the 101 class and you're struggling, utilize those tutors. Really seek out the help. What exemplifies college level behavior in readiness is you can identify, it's that self-awareness. I'm aware that I'm struggling. I'm aware that I need extra help, and seeking out that help. When you're able to do that, there is nothing you won't be able to accomplish. Like there's no hurdle you won't be able to get over. If you need to talk to the teacher, go see that tutor. Really reaching out and getting the help when you are aware that you need it. That's college level readiness. So I just want to encourage you guys to do that. I think you guys are ready. I don't want to just automatically say that you're passing, because I need to see that CRT. And of course I need to see that essay, but I can say that based on what you've shown me, what you put into the class, I think you guys do have what it takes to move on to the next level. So with that being said, it's not goodbye. You guys hang on to my email. Now, we'll still see each other again on Wednesday. Look, don't throw me away totally, but hang on to my email. You guys getting into your nursing programs or whatever programs you are getting into after this, you will need letters of recommendation. You'll need, you know, things like that. Keep me in mind. I'll be happy to vouch for any of you. You know, my people, I'm shouting you out: Robert, Tara, Yamna, Dwayne, Shania, Jennifer, Julia, Jamisha, Anthony, any one of you, I'm willing to vouch for. So if you need that letter of recommendation, anything you need me for, hang on to my email and reach out.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, my peeps.
Ma'am Pearl, I want to talk to you after class.
Okay, stay after, Yamna.
Okay.
All right, other than that, you guys, Monday, I'm putting Brightspace. I'm putting all the instructions you guys need on Brightspace, but you will follow the exact same process that you did for midterm. On Monday, you will go to assessments and quiz is where you find your final CRT, and you will, as early as 6 to midnight, you'll have all day to get into that and complete it. and then I'll grade it immediately. Wednesday, we'll talk about results. Okay.
Okay.
Miss
All right.
Cole.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Yes, thank you guys.
I'll
Thank
see you in the fall or spring.
Yes, you will.
Alright, peace.
All right. I will miss you too, Jennifer. I'll see you. But I teach 101. So if you guys are looking, I teach that
Do
course
you
as
do
well.
97?
Okay.
You do 97 too, Miss Cole?
I don't do 97, but if you're looking at that schedule, I can definitely make recommendations on who, based on, you know, your learning, who I think you would fit very well with. So I can help you with your decision.
Okay. Thank you.
No
Okay.
worries.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. See you, Jennifer. See you guys. See you, Dwayne. All right, Yamna. What can I help you with?
Uh,